Welcome to the Truth for Your 20s podcast. My name is Katie. I'm a proud girl mom. I've been married 20 years and counting. I'm a keynote speaker to sororities nationwide and a passion to be who I needed when I was younger.
And I'm Shayna Webb, proud big sister of 5 girls, Chattanooga content creator, high school coach, and your resident 20-something co-host who definitely doesn't have it all figured out yet, but loves talking about it anyway.
And together, we are here to bring a little truth, encouragement, real stories, and laughter to your 20s. Woo! Hi, Shayna.
Hi, Katie.
Welcome to the Truth for Your 20s podcast.
We're so excited about this. We have alluded to it in a bunch of past episodes, how you could go on a soapbox about this.
Girl.
And we're finally opening the soapbox. Well, a 25-minute soapbox, but still.
This is something I get so excited about, being brave. I think you can probably totally relate because we're here, I guess the world would say, doing brave things, but it's not like you arrive or not that like, oh, now I'm capable or I can do brave things now. You just kind of do it and then figure it out along the way. And then I'm like, no, everyone can do this. I'm not you can do it too. Yeah.
Right. I would say this is the conversation I have the most often with people because, for context, I do social media content creation. Technically, in the world of legal terms, it's called influencer marketing because I'm sharing stuff on my personal page and it's kind of centered around me. And that is very scary to put yourself out there like that. And so the most frequent question I feel like I get is how did you start that? How did you do that? Because it is scary. And so that's why we're just talking about doing the dang thing. But obviously, this can apply to so many things, not just posting on social media. However, that is where my background comes from. So I'll probably allude to that. And you will talk about how you've talked to thousands of women all over the country. But also, obviously, there's so many other brave things that this is talking to, going and living abroad there's so many.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get that question a lot as well. I did a mastermind, if you will. Essentially, I just kind of put it to the internet of hey, are you in your 20s and you want to do brave things? Are you wanting to start a podcast, be brave on social media, be a speaker, whatever it is? If that's in you, write a book, then let's get together and talk about it. And so I just did a 4-week, all the things I wish I would have known to start and what that looks like. I know, it was so fun.
That is so cool. You guys,
fun.
What a goldmine we're getting right here if you missed the course.
So one of the things, I say it feels dramatic, like a quote changed my life, but there are several quotes that really were monumental in getting me started. But first I want to back up who we were, because I think that people think, oh, well, you have a big social media following, you're a speaker, you just were born. Absolutely not. I don't think I was born any braver or anything else. In fact, my kindergarten teacher asked my mom if I could talk. She thought something was wrong with me because I never spoke in class. So here I am holding microphones in front of hundreds of college students. It's just no, wait, if I can do it, I promise you anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you when you were younger?
I was pretty shy. I used to live I was born in Iowa, I lived in Texas for a little bit, and then I moved when I was in 2nd grade. So I had moved a lot. I didn't have strong friends going into anything and walked into a school where everybody already had friends or whatever. But you learn it as you grow up and get older. I was definitely shyer. And I would still say I can be pretty shy. I look pretty outgoing online and everything, but it's takes a while to warm up to people. But yeah, I learned so much with starting social media pages, and Web Chats is not the first social media page that I started. It's probably the 25th or so. I've had so many social media pages and just experimenting, putting myself online. But when I first started posting myself, kind of influencer type stuff, it was right after I graduated college. And I think one reason it took me so I waited till I graduated college is because you're not surrounded by your peers anymore. And I was too nervous to do it while in college because I was I see these people every day and they're going to be oh, I watched your little TikTok, which is whatever. I would do silly stuff in college, post funny little videos, but not where I'm really actually, you can tell that I'm trying to grow a platform until after I graduated because I think I was scared. It just takes practice, and you just have to remember that literally nobody cares as much as you're thinking people care. And if people are caring and talking about you behind their back, because, whoever, they always are going to be, you just have to remember it's because they're too scared to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And anybody who you look up to or is successful in the field that you're trying to be brave in my case, other people who've grown content creation platforms and make money off of doing partnership deals, none of those people are going to think it's weird because they've all been in your shoes, and nobody who's on the other. I I saw it once on LinkedIn, actually. It's like there's a mountain and it's called Cringe Mountain, and you're at the front of it. Like you haven't crossed the mountain yet, but all the people you look up to are on the other side. So you have to like get over the mountain, Cringe Mountain. And while you're on the mountain, like those who like haven't climbed the mountain, they'll talk about, did you see that? So cringe, like whatever. But anyone who's on the other side, like has been there before and they're not going to think it's cringe because they've been in those shoes before. So you just have to remember anyone you look up to is not going to think bad about you. The only people who are like talking about you are like people who are jealous.
And they haven't climbed Cringe Mountain.
Right.
That's so good. You saw that on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
That's so funny because one of my life-changing quotes, the creator of LinkedIn, I couldn't tell you his name or her
Mr.
name,
Linked.
Mr.
Just kidding.
They said, if you are not embarrassed by the thing you put out first into the world, you started too late. Isn't that so
Wow.
good? Because the first, I guess, the beta versions of LinkedIn were a hot mess. And if you look back, guys, my first draft of my book that actually went out to people that they paid money for, I misspelled a famous author's name when I like quoted their. Yeah. And that was just one of the errors. There's plenty more. But yeah, those first drafts of things I've done are embarrassing. My first social media post, now, of course, social media changes over times, but I've done a lot of stupid things on the internet. And,
Yeah.
but if I waited till I had it all figured out and I was perfect, then I would have started way too late. And who
Yeah.
would have cared? Yeah.
I see that a lot of times where people are like, I really want to do. I'll just keep using the example of social media, but this can apply to many other things. But it's like, I really want to do social media. I'm like, okay, do it. Like, you got this. I'm hyping you up. Like,
Yeah.
I will comment on all of your posts, like, whatever. And you can tell they like do one post and it doesn't go viral because obviously it's their first post
Right.
and nobody knows who they are yet. And then it doesn't go viral. And so they get embarrassed and they literally stop after like a month or a week or one post. And
Yeah.
it's like, don't like you have to just keep going. It's gonna be cringe in the beginning. Like obviously people are gonna say whatever they're gonna say, but you just have to not care about
You have to climb Cringe Mountain. I really love that. I'm going to use that like every day now. Every
it.
day
I'm
now.
gonna use Cringe Mountain.
I love that. Okay, some other quotes, and I said this at the beginning, but like literally, these were like life changing for me. And one of them was being brave is being scared to death and moving forward anyways. And that was so important because I thought that everyone ahead of me just wasn't afraid or they just were somehow braver. But no, they were all scared to death too. They were just holding the microphone or hitting post or, doing the thing, doing the dang thing, as our
Mhm.
episode is called, even though they were scared. And I think that's huge.
Yeah. And I saw something somewhere that was like, someone else doing it better than you doesn't disqualify you from doing it at all. Like comparison is the biggest killer. I feel like I say this all the time. It really truly is. It stopped me a lot. It still stops me sometimes, but not as much as it used to. But like it stops so many people from wanting to do what they want to do because they're like, someone's already doing that. Well, guess what? Like literally nothing's original. Like just bring your own spin to something,
Yes.
like you can do it too.
I am so glad you said that. So, some of my older episodes, I interviewed a wonderful woman, Stephanie Mae Wilson, if you know her, and she really helped me with this. So, before I was doing anything that I'm doing now, I was just an advisor to sororities. The girls were like, "Oh, we love Stephanie Mae Wilson. Can you get her as a speaker?" And so I just emailed her, got her in as a speaker. They thought I was like so cool. And I'm like, literally just emailed her. It wasn't that complicated.
Yeah.
But anyways, I had the joy of like hosting her and making sure, getting her to the hotel and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of shyly was like, I would love to do what you're doing one day, expecting like good luck with that or
Mhm.
too bad,
Yeah.
this is my territory. And she was the biggest cheerleader, like, your voice is needed too. Like, come on, there's room for you at the
Yeah.
table. And that changed my life in such a good way too. And I think just like what you were saying, that even if someone else is already saying what you're saying, my friend and I just had this conversation that like she was trying to tell her husband the same thing over and over again. But when he finally heard it from like a male colleague, it just stuck better. And that's so true because we might, even if someone's already saying what you're saying, you're a different age or you live in a different part of the
Yeah.
country, like
Exactly.
someone might hear it better from you. And so your voice is still needed.
Right. I actually get that a lot. So when I started Web Chats, which is my Chattanooga like things to do social media page that I do full time now, which is crazy. My biggest cheerleader when I was starting that page was my fellow Chattanooga content creator friend Hope. She also creates, Chattanooga things to do content. And it's like she was that space.
Yeah.
And she was like my biggest supporter and encouraged me to finally start this. And so like because she was already doing it and she wanted me there too. And so like when anybody else starts posting like Chattanooga things to do, I always like to be like a huge supporter because I had that in Hope. So I want other people who are starting out at zero and it feels embarrassing for them to post themselves online. Like you need like someone supporting for you and cheering you on. So I always try to be that person for other people who are starting, but it's like everyone like hearing something like that or having someone who's like a little bit already established in that realm of what you want to do supporting you can be so huge. So if you're listening to this and you have success in some area, I highly recommend like encouraging those who are maybe just getting started or something, because I can't tell you how much it meant for me for Hope to do that for me. So I hope to do that for other content creators too.
Yeah, same for me. And if we can be that for one of you guys, let us know. Like we want to be your cheerleaders. And if it's more realistic to have someone that you know that you can like have lunch with or something, don't be afraid to, hey, can you keep me accountable for posting this many this week or
Right.
writing this thing? There's so many different ways we can define this being brave, sending this email, whatever it may be. A lot of times having just someone to say, hey, can I want to do this? This is important to me. Can you hold me accountable to make sure I do that is huge.
Yeah, or even, like, going back to LinkedIn, like, if you coming off of the social media for a second, like, say you're thinking of something in, like, a corporate world or a job or something, like, looking up someone who has a position of a job that you would like to have one day and messaging them. My professor made us do this my senior year of college. No, it was my junior year of college, and, she made us message people who had a job title that we wouldn't mind having one day and ask them, like, what's one thing they did in college, just, like, as a easy question. 'Cause you know how sometimes you get those messages that's like and you're like, "I don't know if I can do a whole 30-minute phone call or
Yeah.
coffee chat or whatever," but someone just says like, "What's one thing you wish you would have learned better in college to prepare you for this role?" or something, and that was so helpful, and then it just gives you like a foot in the door with someone who has a job that you really admire. Because I think anybody would answer that type of question like, "Oh, you have one more year of college left? Like, here's one thing I wish I would have done while I was still in college," per se. And I thought that was so cool because you can learn from, these people who have a dream job of yours. And then, like, you're kind of connected with them on LinkedIn and maybe they'll comment on something of yours down the line and just they'll remember that. And so,
That's true. That's really good. I went to another mastermind, someone else that was teaching it, and he talked about that. And it was this guy that's written a bunch of books and had gotten really far along and actually was able to go to coffee with someone getting started. What he recommended is that the young person offer to pay for the coffee. And even if you won't accept, it's just like he's taken the time to meet with them or whatever. And like when hey, I want to honor your time and pay for that. I don't know. The way he said it sounded better than what I'm trying to say now, but like he was just I want to honor you by thanking you for spending this time with me and let me get this coffee or whatever it was. And so I thought that was a good way to like, can I take you to coffee to learn from you? Just a nice way to learn from people ahead of you. So
yeah.
kind of a cool thing. Okay, let's see. So many things we talked about all these kind of notes of like my life changing quotes. Another thing is that we need your voice. And so we kind of alluded to this, but like if you think someone else is already doing that or whatever, you are still valuable. I will say all the time that like our stories are our best offering. And so even if you have a similar story of like being really quiet in elementary school and now you're doing the same thing that I'm doing. Like I still want your voice. Like everyone still needs your voice in this world because you
Yeah.
have a different background. You have a different whatever it is still valuable. So don't think that someone's already been there or done that. And then the last thing I'll say is, our stories are our greatest offering are in our past and our future. And so, as I say a lot of times on this podcast, what story do you want to tell? And is it like, I just did a 9 to 5 and woke up and went to bed every day and that was my whole life? Or I did what I felt like I was created to do. And a lot of times we know that. And if it scares you a little bit, then you're probably right about what that calling is.
Yeah. God doesn't call the qualified already. He qualifies the people he called.
Right.
But going back a little bit on that, I think so when I was getting started with social media, it's like I remember Cameron and I talking like the worst that happens is I just go do something else. Like if this
Yeah.
doesn't work out, like I'm just going to try something else. So like your 20s are for experimenting. It doesn't have to be perfectly executed. So say you want to start, an earring business selling your handmade jewelry or whatever and it doesn't work out after a year of trying or whatever. Guess what? It's okay. It's
Yeah.
not like you were like if this doesn't work out, I will die. Like you just get to try a bunch of different things in your 20s. That's what your 20s are for, is for trying different jobs, job hopping to a certain extent and just like trying a business, having a side hustle, having a bunch of side hustles or trying new hobbies or passions and just like giving oxygen to your passions. It's just like now's the time to try. And the worst that happens is you just like literally no one will remember. Most people don't even know this about me. And you would think like, oh, I feel like everyone would remember that. But like I used to do a ton of wedding TikToks. Like I would like post a video every single day for 2 years about like wedding tips and tricks. Like here's how to save money with your wedding savers, or here's the bridesmaid's color dress, blah, blah, blah. And I grew a following of over 100,000 people, and now I never ever post on that platform again, and almost nobody like, say it just flopped or I got canceled on it or, like, whatever it is, nobody even remembers. Like, whenever I bring up, like, "Oh, yeah, I actually grew, like, a pretty big wedding platform," people are like, "What? I didn't know you did that." Like, people forget. Like, people legit don't remember things past, like, a year.
So true.
So it's like if you try a business or you try a social media page and it does well and then you get tired of it or it doesn't do well and you don't, you tried it, at least you can say you tried it. Like people don't remember. People are not going to be like, oh my gosh, there's Shayna. Remember 7 years ago when she tried to like sell her handmade blankets? Nobody remembers, which
Yeah,
is kind of sad in some aspects, but it's also just hopefully helpful in the fact that like just try it
right.
because guess what? Nobody's gonna like think about it as much as you're thinking about it. So you should just do it. If you're passionate about it, try it or at least pray about it and like tell God that you're passionate about it and he can open the right doors for you.
Yes, that's so good. Another thing I want to mention is while you're in your 20s, and speaking of being brave, a really good time, and you don't realize it, is to travel. When I first graduated college, I had a friend who was much braver than I. And I don't know how she found out about this, but these opportunities exist. You just need to do your homework. But the New York University dorms were, we had to pay, but it was a discounted rate just to live there over the summer. So she found out about this and she said, "Do you want to go?" And I said, "Yes." And so the year after I graduated, we spent a summer in New York City just living in the NYU dorms for, I mean, it was still New York City, so it wasn't cheap, but it was like way cheaper than any kind of apartment or any kind of, and it was a short amount of time. And I got to move to New York City and figure out the subway and get a job and be a city girl for a few months. And it was such a growth in a good way opportunity. And think about it, like when I later got married and have kids, I couldn't just drop off, when I'm like 30 and say, "Peace out, family. I'm going to New York for 3 months." Like
Mhm.
it was the perfect time for me to do that. And I learned it was such a crash course in life lessons when you move away from your comfort zone like that. And so that might look a lot of different ways, maybe just taking a trip, but it is definitely a crash course in life lessons when you get out of your comfort zone one way or another in some
Right.
type of moving kind of way.
Exactly. Even if everyone else around you is playing it safe per se, like you're still allowed to want that big life and just try it. Like
Yeah.
people are probably going to look at you and wish they did that themselves.
And I came back with just a whole new perspective, and I ended up coming back to Georgia, and I love, being small town and stuff, but I also love a big city. I love both. I love them both, and it definitely grew me in so many ways. So just ways I wanna, like, encourage you in that way.
Right. And even if you do it alone, like one of my best friends in college, after college, she like went and studied abroad, like in Europe, and it's just like she went by herself, and that seems scary, but, like, she did it, and looks so cool, and, like, I'm just so glad that she had that experience, but it's also just a good reminder, like, even if, you don't have a friend who's asking you to move to New York or to go study abroad or, start a business, and you have no other friends who are starting a business, and they all just, like, work the comfortable office life or whatever, like, you can try it, and if you feel alone, the big lesson I learned this, like, past year was, like, you're not alone because God is with you and he's gonna open the right door, so if this is meant for you, you'll have those doors opened by him and he's always with you, so
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing I wanna say is imperfect action is better than no action, and kind of like we talked about earlier, but, so many people think that it has to be polished and curated and so
Oh, yeah.
beautiful, but it's so untrue, and if you think that way, then you'll never get started, and so the only way to get ahead is to get started, and you just have to do it. You have to do the dang thing and then edit it later or don't and just keep moving, which is probably even better.
Right, exactly. We're all just building right now in our
Yeah.
20s, so it's like, just try.
Yeah.
And definitely true, if you never start, it's never gonna grow.
Yeah. And so just going back to like, there's so many different ways we can define brave, and that's going to mean different things to different people. But as I said earlier, if you know your life calling, and a lot of times people do, but they're just scared to admit it, then this is going to be at least, I won't say it's easy, but it's clear. And the way to get started is what's your lowest hanging fruit. And so when I first went to kind of figuring out like how to be a speaker and stuff like that, he asked that question, like, what's your lowest hanging fruit? And for me, it was sharing my story about being a heartbroken and hungover sorority girl and how I like saw more in sorority women. And he was like, "Well, write that book." And I was like,
Mm.
What do you mean write a book?"
Yeah.
And that was really my first platform, if you will, that ended up getting me booked to speak all over the nation. So you never know what your lowest hanging fruit is, and but doing that, you never know what's on the other side of being brave to that and saying yes to that, and then it could open up who knows how many doors on the other side of that.
Right. You're never gonna feel ready either,
Yes,
like, ever.
never.
You just have to do it.
Yeah, I'm still not ready.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we're just figuring it out and just so I guess that what I want you to take home is like, what's the next step? And so we give a lot of tools and a lot of information, but defining what lights you on fire. And again, we probably know it, we just don't want to admit it. So defining that, and then what's the lowest hanging fruit? What's the step that you could take today, or maybe even this week to do that? And then you never know. In a year from now, when you're looking back at all those little tiny steps, you might be quite further along.
Yeah. And if you're not sure what you could start doing today, I think an easy one can just be praying about it or journaling about it, or just like, if you have a boyfriend or a husband or someone you're really close to that knows a lot about your goals, like talking to them about it. A lot of times we have these ideas and these goals. Like I remember thinking about before I started web chats when I would just like think about wanting to start a Chattanooga Things to Do account, like nobody even knew about it. I didn't even tell Cameron about it. So it's like just a first step could just be one, praying about it, journaling about it, or then telling someone who's close to you, like, hey, like, I actually have this, it's kind of crazy, like this far fetched goal, like whatever. And maybe they are someone who's close enough to you that's like, that is crazy. Or they could be like, no, like, that would be so cool. Like, I don't know. You could just at least bounce your ideas off of someone who's close to you.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, the hope was able to help you kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, no, wait, actually, yes, you should
Yeah.
do this.
Exactly.
And so, and sometimes it's just, we always say that we're too close to our own selves to kind of see on the other side of us. And so
Yeah.
having someone that can see outside, like, wait, no, you're really good at that. Or maybe this is good, but maybe this
Yeah.
direction instead. So people, we're all made to live in community, and having close people around you trust is huge. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I definitely think that social media has so many options for you to find community spaces. So, say you're not trying to like grow as a social media person, like an influencer or whatever, but you're wanting to start a small business or something. Like, I've seen so many people on TikTok, especially, like sharing, like, I'm really trying to start my business this year. I am nervous. I am scared to do it, but like, I just feel like I'm called to do it. And then people are almost seeing like your growth as you building it. And then like people who are niche, like connected to you, who also are trying to start a business,
Yeah.
the algorithm just like has it find them. And I'm not saying it goes viral, but you might find like, 10 to 12 people who might be in a similar boat. And then once you have people who are trying to do something similar to you, like that's so helpful to have a community of other people who are trying to build something like with you. So you can also all be together, be like, I feel so cringe. And they're like, me too. But like, we're supporting each other at least, that kind of thing.
Yes, 1,000%. And again, to kind of help you navigate what the next steps might be is what is your story? And you might be too close to even realize it, but writing it out, even like you said, opening up a little boutique, you're going to have much more support from your friends, your family, even social media of just sharing your story. And so writing that down, first of all, because your story is probably more unique than you realize. And so whatever it is that makes you unique, that might make you perfect for who knows, a
Yeah.
lot of different things, but you may not even realize that. And so writing it out, getting a trusted friend to help you figure it out, and sharing it. And we live in a day and age where we all have little microphones, and we can share that and connect. And that's how the world goes around, by connecting to each other's stories.
Yes, definitely. Community.
Community. Oh, that's your word for 2025.
Yeah. And maybe 2026.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Anyway, so we obviously have strong feelings about this whole being brave situation. We would love to hear from you guys if this is something that really resonates, if you want to say more. We want you to be brave, and we need more positive voices. There's a lot of gunk out there. And so if the negative voices are loud, that's a problem. We need you guys, the positive voices, being loud and being brave and standing up for what matters for you.
Yes.
Yes.
And we'd love to help be your cheerleader too. I mean, something easy we can always do is like cheer you on from our Truth for Your 20s Instagram account. Like if you're starting something on social media, like send us a message from your maybe brand new business page or just your page in general. It's like, hey, I'm starting this. Like, you want to be my first follower? Like, yes, sign me up. I will
Sure.
follow so fast. I will comment, clap hands on all your posts and hearts and like, yes, I will be your hype girl because people, a lot of times, it seems like strangers support you more than your friends sometimes because it's like you are trying to, like, you feel a little bit nervous about it or whatever. And so, if you want at least one guaranteed comment on your new business posts, message at Truth for Your 20s and we will comment those clap emojis.
Yes, and if you are not following already, Shayna is doing incredible work over there. It's so fun. I love sharing little clips from the podcast and what we're working on. It's just such a fun way to communicate with you guys. So make sure you're commenting and following along and all that good stuff. And the link is always in the show notes, but obviously,
At
yes,
Truth for Your 20s, 20.
20. Give us a follow. And also Shayna's Instagram is on there, and so is mine. And we love connecting with you guys. Thank you for your comments on Spotify. That is growing a little bit. And actually the numbers are going.
I know. Katie was telling me the numbers right before this episode, and I was like blown away. I can't believe so many of you guys listen to this podcast, you guys. It's crazy.
You guys are the best. We appreciate your support, telling your friends,
Yes.
helping us grow, helping us show up, and
Yeah.
be brave.
Yes. We hope you had a great start to your 2026 so far. We'd love to hear how it's going. So
Thanks, guys.
bye. Killed it.